When I was a young teenager, I had a really weird relationship, and I don't mean with like a creepy uncle or anything like that. I had a weird relationship with masturbation. Now, this will come as a massive surprise to many of you Redditors out there, but when I was a young man, I was extremely religious. I got baptized twice just to make sure the Lord took notice in case he missed the first one. I wanted to make sure he took notice and saw that I got baptized. And this led to a lot of fear, especially when it came to my penis. I was fucking afraid of my wiener. But like all young men, those hormones are pumping and you just gotta slap that skin flute around to show it who the boss is. And when I did masturbate, it was a fucking nightmare. I'd sometimes cry after it because I felt like this sacrilegious act condemned me straight to hell as some kind of unforgivable sin where the devil knew I masturbated and made a special room in hell for me. It was rough. If you listen to the official podcast, I've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, but I used to ask my parents permission to masturbate and then ask them like a million times if I was still going to heaven if I did. It was bad. It was bad. And the reason why I'm saying this today is because I felt like sharing a story that I just remembered because I was going through some old boner jams. I was looking at old music, and I came across Bullet for My Valentine. Bullet for My Valentine is a metal band, and they used to be my favorite band during this time period, during all this here that I was just talking about, setting the stage. And Bullet for My Valentine made it impossible for me to jerk off. I don't mean like the band themselves. Like the band members didn't come to my house and slap my dick out of my hand every time I was about to jerk off. But I owned one of their posters that I hung on my wall in my room. It was the only poster I ever owned, and the only reason I bought it is because I saw in like old 90s and 2000s movies, the cool kids always had like a ton of fucking band posters and shit, like Misfits and Green Day with the beating heart, and I was like, shit. You know, they're kind of cool. I'll try that too. So I went to FYE. I don't know how many of you even remember FYE. That's like the Blockbuster of music. FYE was a place that sold CDs and some DVDs. You could buy one CD and a pack of gum for like $90. That shit was a straight up fucking scam. But I went to FYE and I picked out a Bullet for My Valentine poster. And it wasn't a very cool poster. It wasn't like album cover art or anything like that. It was just a picture of the band members all staring at the camera. So when I hung that on my wall, it looked like those pictures in old cartoons where the eyes would follow you around like some Scooby-Doo shit. It was a kind of fucking weird poster, and it was the only thing on my wall, so I had this white fucking wall. It'd be like this. If I hung that poster right next to the Redline one and the Redline one wasn't there, it was just a completely empty wall with this one poster. It looked like some kind of religious thing where I'd like light candles in front of Bullet My Valentine and pray, hoping to summon their spirit into my house or something. It was fucking goofy. But I thought it would help make me look cooler, so I'd take like some pictures in front of it and post it on MySpace, like, hey, I got a band poster and shit. They're a pretty popular band, people liked them, and to be fair, their music still absolutely slaps. I was listening to The Poison today, and that album still has some absolute bangers on it. So I was like, okay, this was a good idea, this is cool, people think I'm a little cooler now because my room's got Bullet for My Valentine poster in it. But when I wanted to masturbate, I realized a massive problem. I hung the poster in the middle of the wall directly behind me. And my room was very small, so I could reach out and touch it like here. And I had the poster right behind me. Like it was my shadow. And the poster was looking over my shoulder. It was directly behind me. It was like Bullet for My Valentine was always staring at whatever the fuck I was doing on the computer at this time. And I didn't realize how intrusive that would be when it comes to masturbation. Like, you know when the screen goes black on your phone or computer when you're watching porn and then you see your own greasy reflection there? Well, I had that, plus all four members of Bullet for My Valentine watching it with me. It was like some shit out of a horror movie where when somebody wipes off the mirror, there's another reflection in it. So it's not like I jerked off very often back then because I was so afraid of it. I wouldn't jerk off for like 5 or 6 months. I'd carry around like 6 months worth of nut, and it made me absolutely mentally ill. I had OCD, like actual obsessive compulsive disorder, not that shit they talk about on Twitter where someone cleaned their disgusting room because I had like fucking 15 Travis Scott meals lying around and shit all over the place, so they cleaned it and then said they were OCD because they wanted it clean or whatever. No, you just wanted to clean a dog shit messy room. I get it. It's not OCD though. I had a whole lot of shit going on during this time, and this Bullet for My Valentine poster was about to make it a lot worse. Because every time I did try and jerk off, and that poster existed there for like 2 years, every time I tried to jerk off, I fucking couldn't. I couldn't focus because I knew Bullet for My Valentine was right next to me, watching it and watching me. It fucking felt so uncomfortable. I remember I put tape over their eyes one time. Every band member's eyes, I put a little piece of duct tape. Do you know how fucking insane that looks? I probably would have looked like an actual serial killer if someone came into that room and saw that. Like, Charlie, why is there duct tape over their eyes? That's like some Zodiac killer shit. I had to stop listening to Bullet for My Valentine's music because every time I heard it, I'd think of jerking off, which is probably not what they were going for when they were making their music, trying to inspire some 16-year-old boy to just constantly think about touching his dick. It's so fucking terrible, all just because I bought a poster to look cool. And I should have just bought like an album poster, but that was the only thing FYE had was like this selfie of all four of them holding their instruments or whatever. It was terrible until one day I finally reached the boiling point and I just ripped it off the wall. I just ripped that shit right off the wall and I never looked back. Just so I had freedom to masturbate in my masturbatorium again. And I tell you, that relief when I finally did bust that age-old nut without Bullet for My Valentine haunting the room was euphoric. It was like a curse had been lifted and it was safe again to masturbate in the room. It was all just because I bought a fucking band poster to look cool. But to be fair, Bullet for My Valentine's music, still good. Still good music, yeah. I just wanted to share this because I was listening to the album again and it brought up all those repressed memories that I guess I just stored in the back of my mind. Now, I want to make it clear, I did still masturbate during this time. I wasn't a coward. I wasn't a pussy that was about to abandon masturbation just because I was a little uncomfortable with a band watching me do it. I still did manage to bust some out from time to time, but it made it a lot more difficult. So yeah, Bullet for My Valentine ruined the fun of masturbation for me for a little while. That's it. See ya.